What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of HansenAthletics Radio. Today, I'm making an accompanying video that's going to go on YouTube for it. So if you're interested in kind of looking over some of the podcast planning today and kind of the storyboard of how I plan this out, go ahead and head over to YouTube, HansenAthletics, and check it out. I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen. So today, we're going to be talking about motivating clients, answering that question that people ask of, can you motivate clients and help coaches and other individuals, potentially parents, begin to get a bigger picture on how they can work with their kids, motivate their kids, and create a broader perspective with them. So I think one of the most important things to kick it off for motivating clients is really understanding their why, asking questions, listening well, and making sure to leave those questions open-ended. So that's a big thing we do immediately when athletes come to the gym is you need to ask questions that are open-ended and get to know them in that first assessment, that first session. And that's sometimes where coaches leave it at, and that's where that's a big mistake. So part of the process is going to be asking those questions daily. So really being on top of consistently asking the kids, asking your athletes, asking your spouse, open-ended questions daily to figure out where they're at and understand them better. And as you kind of get deeper into understanding them, you can use that groundwork to, create that relationship. You can use that info to lead interactions in the future. And today we'll kind of stick just to the mindset of workouts and in the gym because that's where my specialty's at. But just know that this applies across many different modalities and domains. So as you gather this information and begin to understand your client, you're able to start targeting goals and also creating a vision change for the athlete, right? So we'll go over 4 different types of motivation that usually lead an athlete into training or participating in sports. And once you understand the different levels and process of this motivation factor, it's easier to manipulate or in a positive way change the way that the athlete looks at the situation, the sport, or potentially the hard work that comes with it. And that's going to be shifting them to a bigger picture over time. And it's going to manifest in their life in many different ways. They'll start enjoying the workouts, potentially, really showing up for the family, community, or their other teammates. And over time, embodying a movement-rich lifestyle, which that's really the end goal. We love having athletes play at the next level, but if we can create athletes that are able to stay healthy, stay motivated, and take care of themselves throughout their life, that's a bigger value add to us than potentially just having them play at the next level. So giving them the tools and the motivation / discipline that they need to take care of themselves for the rest of their life. So let's kind of jump into typical motivation styles or factors that we see as athletes come into the gym. This is going to be an important aspect to understand as you start coaching people or are working with people. So first and foremost, find out why they're in their gym, why they're playing the sport. Ask them in person, not over text. Talk to your kids about this and take note of body language as well during this time, because it's not always going to be easy for a kid to tell the truth, and you'll usually be able to see if they are telling the truth or if they potentially are just telling or saying something that they have heard before. So what we find typically with our athletes as they come in is usually they're starting in a mindset of environment, right? So an athlete comes in, they don't necessarily have a really direct why. Oftentimes it's because their friends come in, they're afraid they're going to get behind in sport, or a parent is potentially pushing them to improve their performance, right? So they are kind of coming into the gym because of other factors outside of them in their environment that is making them focus on how can I get better, right? But it's not necessarily coming intrinsically. It's not something that they necessarily are bought in on doing. It's just something they feel like they have to do based on their daily life. So with this type of client that comes in at this level, I'd say a majority of youth clients that come in do this. Many of them are probably playing sports as well because their peers are doing it or because their parents, sign them up for it. So the goal with this athlete in our facility is to start to get them towards the results oriented. So that's the next step in the process. It's not the final step, but it's the next step. And you will have some older kids that come in with that. For example, I just had an assessment today. This guy's already a great football player. He's a junior, and now he is focused on results. He knows he needs to get faster and is willing to do what he needs to do to get there, right? So it's on his own choice, but he's looking for a specific result. The problem with this type of mindset, that's going to be your most common mindset you see with adults, right? Like around New Year's, around this time, people pick these specific goals that they want to get to, usually pertaining to weight loss, and they say, I want to lose 20 pounds. Okay. Or they have something very, very specific that they're training for. Now, again, the problem when we come back to that is once they hit that goal, if they're still in that mindset, they either, kind of spiral out of control. They have their goal down. They lose some motivation, some discipline. They might go back to some old habits they had. And they are potentially going to lose that progress and not really be able to buy into it for long term, because once they hit that goal, that kind of becomes the end of that, right? Second aspect about that is they might have picked a goal that really is too aggressive. So maybe they've seen, social media where somebody's able to, or claims that they've lost 100 pounds in this amount of time, or they've increased their speed in this amount of time in 2 weeks, and they can potentially lose their motivation and head of steam because they're concerned that that's too high of a goal in the back of their head, and now they fall off and never really reach where they need to get. So that, again, this is still an very not ideal. Sorry, it took me a second to process. Not an ideal mindset to be in, again, because as you hit those goals, unless you have a new one planned, or you're able to find other things you want to focus on within that, which I would say is not very common. People fall off quickly. So as a coach, it's my responsibility to start to move them into that next stage, and that's going to be the process. So getting the athletes, getting your clients to fall in love with the process. And you've probably heard this before on motivational podcasts, on different audio clips on social media, but that is becoming where you move out of a results based and you get more involved with enjoying and feeling like you can take that goal and really dive into the daily work, the different factors of discipline that come into that. This is typically when somebody comes in and says, I work out 3 days a week, or I follow a specific training program, and they are relying on kind of that process to stay motivated and have found some things to hold on to. Now, this isn't a bad place to be. This is where I've seen a lot of people kind of stay. And it's typically founded on the fact that they just enjoy doing it. So if you can get them to this point, it's usually a little bit more sticky, and you can see more progress over time. A good example of this would be like, I go to the gym because I enjoy the community, or I enjoy the different types of movements we do and the workout styles. That's going to be that stage. So I enjoy going to football because I get to spend time with my friends. There's something outside of just the daily work that's usually a driver, and it's very common to be, again, in this area most of the time. So it's typically former athletes, people that have a background in maybe running 5Ks or anything like that, where they've picked goals, they've done them, they've fallen in love with the process, and they're continuing to consistently just follow that process, and it's more long term. Um, the thing that you're going to want to get out of this stage is, keeping that consistent and finding ways to keep them enjoying the process, so that you can start to move them into the last category that I would deem is the most important to get people to, if you want to make a long lasting change and provide these athletes or people with something that's going to change their life for the remainder of the time they're on this earth. So, and that's going to be moving it into identity. So this is where I can confidently say I'm at with my training, is the identity side of it. So instead of it being, I enjoy the process, I enjoy the community, I like being around my friends, right? You can have goals within this, but it goes from saying, I ran a marathon, or I played football, to I am a football player, or I am a marathon runner. So you're taking identity within whatever you're doing or trying to obtain. And this is the most powerful, because it's gonna be where you're gonna find the most discipline. So even when motivation's not there, if you become part of that process, or you embrace the lifestyle of being strong, staying capable, it's gonna just become who you are, and it's something that is non-negotiable. So every day, or whatever makes sense with your schedule, you are going to be making sure you put the work in, not because, you have some specific goal, but because that's who you are. And again, like I touched on earlier, that is essentially where I'm at for sure, because part of my lifestyle is lifting weights, sprinting, running, jumping. As a 31-year-old, that's just something that is part of me. So I try to do that in some shape or form every day, because if I don't feel like I'm being true to myself. And if I go a couple days without doing that, I just feel off. I don't feel as accomplished. My work doesn't go as well, um, and on and on and on. So this is the ultimate, and this is where I want to get all my athletes to, is where it is part of who you are. The training, the being strong, the staying in shape, taking care of your body, that is who you are. And that's where we're going to create the most effect over time and provide these athletes with the ability to take care of themselves for the rest of their life, which is really, really the most powerful thing we can give these kids. And you can't put a price on that, really. Just as you start to look into the research of how physical health and mental health and resiliency are all combined into this factor. If the physical side's not there, the mental side's usually not there, and it's just something that comes before that mental health side. So when we talk about a mental health problem with the younger generation, or just in the U.S. in general, I really think a lot of that could be alleviated, or at least improved, with with healthier individuals and people that have bought into having an active lifestyle and having that be a part of their life. It's larger than just a goal. It's larger than um, something outside of actually training. It's you are that, and training is you. And it just prepares people for life and the curveballs it's going to throw at us, and all the different things you have to deal with as you go through different relationships in life. It makes you as I said, touch on resilience again. I think resiliency is one of the key aspects of successful people and people that are healthy and happy. And within that, I think, let's talk about how you can kind of move athletes into that, move individuals into that. And with different personality types, it can look a little bit different, and whatnot. But as you begin that client's fitness journey, you need to have a plan in your head about how you're going to motivate those athletes. So it's really important to understand what ignites their passion, and how you can reverse engineer that conversation and those answers to their questions into a response that will help them see a way to tie it into who they are. again, a big part of that can just be helping these kids understand how what they're doing right now is not only helping their sport, but it's positively affecting their lives. And that's one of the things that, parents come to us very first, even before we've been able to make a lot of physical adaptations, because they've only been around, 2 months. They just say, "Oh, I don't know what you're doing, but my kid is a lot more confident." And it's conversations we're having with these athletes, making them understand that the work they're doing and the efforts they're putting in here are positively affecting them outside of here, beyond just sport and doing well on the court, doing well on the field. It's gonna help them in school. It's gonna help them in relationships. It's gonna help them in everything that comes with that. So you have to kind of understand that, and the same passion you take towards planning and training athletes physically, you have to turn that into a plan and a passion for teaching athletes how to be motivated and develop discipline within, controlling and using their body, and understanding that they're capable of a lot of things physically that they potentially, didn't think they were in the beginning. So that kind of wraps up the portion of talking about, how to motivate clients, and hopefully that was insightful for you guys, or kind of gives you an idea of, where you can classify some of the people you work with, and how you can do better at moving them into making their training become part of who they are and part of their lifestyle. If you have any further questions or thoughts on the topic, go ahead and hit us up, Hansen Athletics, on any social channel. You can leave a comment on the podcast, and we would love to hear what you guys think about it. So again, I appreciate you guys checking it out. If you are in need of coaching remotely or in Pocatello, go ahead and hit our website. We've got a bunch of information on there in our different offerings. It's just HansenAthletics.com. And as always, appreciate the support. Coach D, out.